Hey, Next on the Tee Nation, thanks for tuning in to another bonus segment of Next on the Tee. I can't thank you enough for being here and pressing that play button. This segment, I am joined by one of the most wonderful and talented people in our game, Michael Collins. I had the privilege of spending some time with Michael last year, and I can't thank him enough for coming back again this year to be a part of the show. Everything that Michael touches, he takes to an incredibly high level, including our game at a macro level. But then each thing that he has done in his career, he has learned and mastered. It's absolutely an amazing story. You'll learn more about that in this episode. If you want to go back and listen to our episode from last year, you'll learn about his comedic career and then coming through and becoming a caddy and then on to broadcasting. And nowadays, he also has taken on becoming one of the world's great photographers from out of nowhere. He picked up that skill, and that is just amazing. So you'll learn about that in our previous episode and a little bit more today. So I tell you what, you're going to enjoy this episode. You're going to laugh, you're going to learn, and you're just going to have a really great time because that's who Michael Collins is, and that is the aura that he brings to everything he does. So sit back, relax, let us take your mind off everything else going on in your life for the next hour or so. Okay, before we get started, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at the Pittsburgh Tribune-Review. TribLive.com is the leading news website for Western Pennsylvania with news around the clock. Pittsburgh pro sports coverage, a high school sports network, a podcast network, which you can find Next on the Tee on. So go out and bookmark TribLive.com or download the Trib Live app for free and stay up to date with all the news in Western Pennsylvania and this show. I also want to talk about our friends over at the Pittsburgh Brewing Company and Iron City Beer, a brand that I have loved my whole life and started drinking when I was 21 years old, of course. Whether you're a hacker or a scratcher, the secret to a successful day on the links is knowing when it's time to grab an iron, even if that means keeping it in the bag till the 19th hole. If it's been a while since you've reached for Pittsburgh staple beer, it's time to revisit Iron City. Thanks to their incredible new facility in Creighton, the best-tasting Iron City beer ever made is now available at a course near you. Iron City pairs well with any lie and sky and serves as a friendly reminder that there's always next round. Iron City Beer, best enjoyed while enjoying life. Now let's talk about golf getaways and buddy trip locations. When you're thinking about that, think about our friends over at the Macklemore, which is a wonderful resort located just south of Chattanooga, Tennessee, high atop Lookout Mountain. It is a casual 2-hour drive from Atlanta, Nashville, and Birmingham. The existing Highlands course is now ranked in the top 100 courses you can play in the U.S. by Golf Digest. The 18th hole is ranked in the top 10 finishing holes in the world. A second course, The Keep, is under construction and will open summer of 2024. The Keep is a Bill Bergen, Reese Jones design and features a 1.5 miles of dramatic cliff edge, with every inch of that edge filled up with a golf hole. A world-class hotel, Cloudland Lookout Mountain Curio Collection by Hilton, will open spring of 2024. Both have incredible views into historic Macklemore Cove, 1,200 feet below. You got to see it to believe it, folks. Stay, dine, and play golf above the clouds at Macklemore. Go online to macklemore.com to book your stay and play package. Now let's talk about the new P790 irons from TaylorMade. From the very beginning, P790 irons have been rooted in clean aesthetics and thoughtful design. However, their true beauty is found beneath the surface. With AI-optimized weighting and speed foam air on the inside, every iron is uniquely designed to perform exactly how you need it to. As striking as they are on the outside, their true beauty lies within. Learn more about the new P790 irons from TaylorMade by checking out their website at TaylorMadeGolf.com. Okay, now back in Next on the Tee with me is America's caddy, Michael Collins. Let me give you a little bit about his background. He's from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. He's been a comedian, a caddy, a journalist, a broadcaster, an analyst, plus now a fantastic photographer. He makes golf and the PGA Tour so much more fun every time he is a part of anything that they do, whether it's on a broadcast, whether it's on the radio, or whether it's just being a part of the tournament as well. And I couldn't be more honored that I get to have him back with me again this week here on Next on the Tee. Hey, Michael, thanks for coming back on the show.
Of course, man. Thanks again for having me.
Well, Michael, we are on the heels of the Olympics, and it was an exciting final round. We saw John Rahm lose a 4-stroke lead, unfortunately, on the back nine. He shoots 39. Scottie Scheffler shoots 29. I want to get your thoughts. What did you think about what you saw from the guys over in Paris?
Um, I think every year so far, every time that we've seen the Olympic golf played, it's gotten better every year or every time because the players have been more invested over and over and over again. And um just the social media post that Paul Tesori put out um about him and Tom Kim and both of them walking out of the scoring tent and Tom just basically collapsing in Paul's arms and crying because he wanted it so bad to get a medal. Um and what that would have meant for him as far as like military service goes as well. And Scotty Scheffler, who's not an emotional guy at all, standing on that podium. And, you know, you're not used to seeing Scotty Scheffler ugly cry. And I think that's a beautiful thing when you see the emotion of golfers who aren't normally showing emotion like that. And Scotty Scheffler being the perfect exhibit A. I think when we were in Rio the first time, because Zika was there, I think it was a convenient excuse for guys not to go because they weren't really into it. They didn't know if it was going to take or last or be good. And then, the guys and women that went down there and participated in Rio came back and said how amazing it was to be part of the Olympic Village and the Olympic experience for athletes, and then meeting athletes that, unlike golfers who have tournaments every single week, these people have this is one shot. And if you don't make it, it's 4 years you got to wait to have another shot. And it might be your only shot. And so the next time in Tokyo, when there weren't any people, golfers were more into it, but then it's not the same without the Olympic crowd. Well, Matthew Pavon goes on to that first tee as a Frenchman, and that place is slammed and going absolutely bonkers. And I think the hair on everyone's body stood up, golfers wise, because they finally, the third time, I guess, is literally a charm because they got the full Olympic experience. And I think now, moving forward, maybe two more Olympics, this will be as prized a possession, if not more so, than a major championship.
Really?
Because yes, well, I mean, they you play majors every year, and they've been doing it for a long time. The Olympics comes around once every 4 years. So the amount of people that are going to have Olympic gold medals and silver medals and bronze medals are few and far between. You're not going to have a lot of them out there. So they're going to be prized even more. So the opportunity to get one, number one, is with only a 60-person field that, and there's only a maximum of 4 people per country, right? We can say what we want about the Ryder Cup, and you can even throw in the President's Cup there, but I don't think the President's Cup is quite as much. But the Olympics is the only time where you are an individual for your country, not a team. And I do think I would like to see a men's and women combined team, even if it's 9 holes, for a medal. I understand scheduling would be horrific and very difficult to navigate. But I think the importance of what the Olympics stand for um, is gives it gravity that I don't know that we see in golf very often, and it's only up there with majors. And that's why I say, because of that, like, it's a here's a conundrum question, right? If you've had a hole in one and you've won a member guest, and you had to give one back, which would you give back? Right? So
Yeah.
if you won a major and you won an Olympic gold medal and you had to give one back, which one would you give back? And I would say most golfers today, if they said they had one of each, they would give back the major because they're going to get another opportunity at it. You're going to get 4 shots at majors per year. If you're 35 years old and you just won an Olympic gold medal, you think you're going to have what you got at 39? You willing to take that risk? I bet you're not.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, Michael, and it's interesting that you bring this up because it's something that we've talked about on this show and I've talked on others about the gravity of an Olympic medal. And we're never going to know all the things that went through John Rahm's mind. But I had wondered after his lead evaporated and he didn't win a medal. To your point, when you think about a Ryder Cup, you're playing for your teammates and your continent. Now, all of a sudden, that gets ramped down a little more on a micro level
Yeah.
because you're playing
Yes.
for yourself and your country.
That's why I said that like only United States golfers understand what it means to play for country. Like the President's Cup is an international flag, right? If you win and you're from Korea, you didn't win for Korea. You didn't win for Australia. You didn't win for South Africa. And if you win the Ryder Cup on the European side, you didn't win for Ireland or Northern Ireland or France or Spain. Like you didn't win for that specific country. You won for the UK, right? You won for Europe, which is different. Still a team, and I understand the gravity of the Ryder Cup because of its presence and history, and again because of what it has become. It has become something very meaningful to those who participate. But if you broke that down and told those individual golfers, hey, you can either play in a Ryder Cup for Europe or you can play for your country against 60 people from other countries for a gold medal in the Olympics. And if you don't take this chance, you might not even get asked in 4 years, or you might not have the skill set in 4 years to try it. It's one of the reasons why even golfers, were upset at the Netherlands for not letting Joost Luiten in. Like this dude qualified for the Olympics, and the Netherlands, as a country, and as the Netherlands Olympic Committee had the nerve to say, "We don't think you're good enough to win, so we're not going to spend the money to send you there." You want to talk about people who don't understand golf? You know what I mean? Like I would have went
Yep.
there with a sickle and cut down every tulip that grew. Right? It would have been nothing but burning windmills. I would have set all the windmills on fire. You know what I mean? You're like, you know what? You got electricity now. You don't need these anymore, and burn them to the ground. Right? Like you don't need them, right? And they would have, be like, well, you just did that to a golfer who, if you're teeing it up, you got a chance. Like, you know what I mean? Unless
Yep.
you're an Australian breakdancer. Thank God that's not coming back ever again. Jesus.
So let's take that though a step further, Michael. People started throwing stones at how the teams were put together. You start to look at some of the U.S. players and well, does so and so belong and not so and so, and we did it by the point system. But do you think that that's the right way, or should each country have an opportunity to decide which 4 players they want to send?
Yeah, but then who gets to decide? Are you going to trust the people that are picking? Do you think that doesn't become political too?
Right?
That's the thing. If there was one, listen, if two things. Number one, think about the golf course and then think about the golf course. But if there's only one person that was going to get switched out, and that was Wyndham Clark, right?
Right.
So you pull Wyndham Clark out and you put Bryson DeChambeau in. Is there going to be an uproar from people? How dare you let Wyndham Clark off of this Olympic team and put Bryson in? No. Everyone would have went, yeah, that's fine. I mean, the course doesn't set up for Bryson at all, you know. and whatever, but Winged Foot didn't set up for Bryson either. And the last time I checked, he kind of walked away with that trophy too. So again, the Olympics is an opportunity to grow a nation's eyeballs on sports that they wouldn't necessarily see, right? Like the last time I checked, I mean, I work for ESPN, and even ESPN the Ocho doesn't show fencing, right? I've never ever watched competitive sync like synchronized swimming on whatever it was. It was called underwater dancing, whatever bull crap that was. Another was horrific. Like you gonna tell me you're gonna get into badminton the same that you got into it for the Olympics, or table tennis? Are you serious? Like that was one of the coolest, most fun things I've ever gotten to watch. Like I want to do play by play for that next time. But like if you're gonna grow a sport like golf and put eyeballs on it and be like, holy cow, this is for people who have never watched golf before, they're like, man, this is kind of compelling. They're like, who is this dude who's hitting it forever and kind of talks a little quirky, and wait, he's got a YouTube channel and he does all this fun stuff. You're like, yeah, maybe that is. There are old school people who would say, there's no place in the game for something like that. Well, okay, well, get off my lawn. And you probably still want wound balls and wooden head clubs, right? Like, again, if you're thinking of big picture and growing the game, then you probably want someone like Bryson on that team representing our country for the world. And that
Right.
would not have been a bad thing.
What about on the lady side and Lydia Ko's win, which not only resulted in a gold medal, but got her way into the LPGA Hall of
Hall of
Fame
Fame.
too,
Yeah,
right?
which that Hall of Fame, I'm sorry, I got a problem with that, right? Like I don't need someone saying these are milestones that are required to be there. The last person that went into the Hall of Fame was 10 years ago. So can you imagine if they did that in baseball or football? You'd be like, this year, the class of 2023 in the Football Hall of Fame is nobody. Again? Nobody. Huh. Okay. Huh. Let's go. I guess, well, are we still gonna play the Hall of Fame preseason game up there? That kind of don't make no sense. Right? Like that's so stupid. Now the one thing I will say for Lydia Ko too, she got a gold, a silver, a bronze, and is now in the Hall of Fame. I don't think you can play in the Olympics no more. Like that's it. You're done. Right? Now you just don't show off. Like, come on. You know what I mean? They might stop her. Hey, I'm Lydia Ko. I'm here to defend. I'm sorry, you've already got every medal, so you're gonna have to pick somebody else, man. That's enough. Stop being greedy. What do you think? You're a swimmer?
Well, I mean, that gets back to your earlier statement. She could win 2, 3, 4 gold medals. I mean, she's only 27. She's probably got at least 2 more Olympics in her.
Maybe, but she's also the same girl who said when she either 30 or 35, she's shutting it down. She when she was what 16 or 17 and first came out and was winning then. And everybody was like, man, if this girl wins at this pace, by the time you're 40, and she was like, 40, I'm only playing till I'm 30 and then I'm out. Right? Like,
Yeah.
so, and you know what? I hope she sticks to it. I hope she does it or is able to do that, to just mic drop and walk off. Be like, you know what? I'm good.
Yeah.
I won everything that I wanted to win. If she has, if there's still stuff that she wants to win, then you know what? Yeah, go. But imagine if that's your walk off. Like I got the gold medal and I'm now in the Hall of Fame. All right, thanks for coming out, yo. Like, wait, what? That would be, that. How many athletes do that?
Right.
None, really.
Yeah.
No, it's like it's similar coming back from injury. I tell this to golfers all the time when they're like, well, they said it was going to take 3 months, but I'm going to try and come back in about 2 months and a week. And I always tell a golfer, hey, you give me just one. Give me one example when an athlete said, I came back too late from injury. I'll wait.
Right.
Never. I've never heard an athlete in the history of athletics say I came back too late from an injury. So that's, it's hard, but it's hard to tell athletes that make it to the very top of their profession and are the best. The reason that they got there is because they beat odds, because they did what other people wouldn't and couldn't do. And so when you tell them, hey man, I know you can do this shorter, but how long do you want to stay? And so when you look at someone like Lydia Ko, and she said early, like, hey, I don't want to do this forever. I mean, look at how free Lexi has become since she said this is her last year. And it ain't like she's 40 something. You
Right.
know what I mean? We've
Yep.
just seen her since she was 14. And that's what's crazy. And that's a big difference between like the LPGA tour and the PGA tour. I mean, now we're going crazy over 20-year-olds that are still in college and giving themselves opportunity to win or winning, you know? But on the LPGA tour, you're like, well, yeah, we've seen this girl for 20 years. She must be like 40 something. 34? 34. Yeah, we started watching when she was 14. It's crazy.
Yes. So is the opposite side of that coin Tiger Woods?
Well, I don't know. I mean, this is the thing when it comes to Tiger. And this started happening early with his injury. We, as a community of golf loving human beings, were so spoiled to live through Tiger's heyday that we are not willing to let it go. Right? And this
Yes.
is when the injuries first started happening, and everybody's like, "Man, I hope he hurries up and comes back." I used to scream from the top of the mountaintops the same thing. I want Tiger to stay out longer. The longer he stays out, the longer we get to see him play. The shorter that he stays out, the shorter time we're going to get to see him play. And this is the consequence of that. Period. This is that consequence now. Now we are after the car accident happened. One of the things, and I said it to Tiger too. So you owe us something, but it's not one competitive golf shot. You do not owe golf, the sport, one competitive shot. You don't owe us anything. Nothing. You've done everything. All of it. You've done it all. And I know the one thing that he wants is the senior US Open so that he can be the only man in history to hold every USGA trophy. I understand that he wants that, and that's a fine goal to go after and have. That's fantastic. But I told him the one thing that he does owe us is happiness. You owe us the opportunity for us to see you as a happy old man, content with your kids and your grandkids. That's what you owe us. Because of what you did for everyone in this sport, because of what you did for the sport. Now, the one thing that you owe us the opportunity for us to be able to smile and internally say thank you by watching you be happy in old age. Is he ready to do that? No, not. I don't think he is right now. I don't think he is. He's just not. The problem is, if and I'd be lying if I didn't say I don't feel a little bit of that every time I go back to a tournament now too. Because like there was a time when I was doing 30 to 35 weeks at tournaments on the road. So it was like you was out there seeing everything, seeing everybody. Well, if I only do 11 weeks or 9 weeks out there, when I finally get back to a tournament, like it's amazing how hard emotionally it hits me because I missed being around everyone so much. I missed feeling what that feels to be on the driving range talking smack with my friends. When you don't have that and then you have the opportunity to get it again, it's not something you're ready to give up real easy. And I have a lot of friends that are retired athletes from other sports. And it ain't the games that they say that they miss. Like, it's the locker room and the practice. Being that camaraderie of your teammates, your people. Like, and golfers feel that. Tiger does too. It's why Tiger is so much different now than he was when we knew Tiger in 1999 and 2000. The dominant, intimidating, he ain't going in the locker room. He ain't having lunch with nobody. Like, he puts his shoes on at the car, goes right to the range. Then when he's done with the range, right to the car, he out. That is not the Tiger Woods of today. And the reason I believe that it's not is because of that. Because when you walk on that golf course, it feels like home. It feels like that fraternity, that brotherhood, even though, I mean, it's not just all guys out there, but that family, it feels like, yeah, that, your family. And so when you don't get that a lot, or, think that that might not be there again, it's not easy to go, yeah, I'm good. I don't need that no more. That's not how we as humans are built.
So one of the things that I wonder about from a PGA Tour perspective, you talk about how we're not willing to let him go. It's like the PGA Tour isn't willing to let him go. All the promos are still about Tiger. All the headlines are still about Tiger. Everything is Tiger, Tiger, Tiger. It's
Because he
like
still draws the numbers. That's why. Because they're like, how does Tiger still move the needle? Move the needle. He's the needle, the stand, and the shipping crate that it came in. He is. That's the thing. And here's the problem. Tiger he was a unicorn in the fact that he had just as many people in awe of him as hated him. And the people that hated him watched even more. He was like Howard Stern, right? People, they did numbers back when Howard Stern was in his heyday on radio in New York. And the people that hated Howard Stern, they listened 3 times as long as the people that loved him, because they were always trying to catch him. They always want to get that gotcha, right? I'm going to get him kicked off the air. So I can't believe he's saying, ah. They're like, why are you listening to this? Because I'm going to get him, someone, right? And there was a saying with Tiger, people were like, man, I freaking hate that guy. And a lot of people wouldn't admit why. You know what I mean? It would be like, I hate him because he's cocky. I don't know. He's beating everybody by 137 strokes. Probably be a little cocky if you did that every week, right? Let's be honest why you really don't like him. So we had this unicorn he was over and above dominant, right? It's like the Celtics and the Lakers back in the day, right? And you hated them, or you as a Sixers fan, I hated the Celtics. And, it's the same way I feel about the Cowboys. As an Eagles fan, I root for the Eagles and whoever's playing the Cowboys. Simple as that, right?
Yep.
It's not hard. It's real easy. And so, because we were so spoiled by Tiger Woods, like, what is the first thing we said when Jordan Spieth in 2015 had his year? Be like, he's the next one. And then what happened after that? Never had a year like that again. And then Dustin Johnson came along. And for 9 months, it was like, yo, here's the one. And that lasted for 9 months. Jason Day, 8 months. Brooks Koepka, 9 months. Right? All of these guys are coming out and they're taking their time. They're taking their shot at the top. Rory McIlroy, John Rahm. You can name them off, all these world number ones. How long are they staying at the top? But the problem is we not grew up, but we were in the era of Tiger Woods. So now when anyone shows a flash of dominance for a little bit, it was like, finally, here's the one. Crash and burn, right? And so now it's like, now at least for a little bit, people have been like, Scotty Scheffler, maybe. But even now, it's like, could his run possibly be over after what we saw at the Olympics? Maybe not. Like, maybe he's the dude that's going to stay up there for more than 9 months. But we ain't hit that mark yet. Once we get to, I'm gonna give Scotty like a full year. once we get to a year, and if he stays there for another 6 month, year and a half, 2 years, then it's like, okay. But I've said this before as well about this guy, Scottie Scheffler. There is no one since Tiger Woods who is better at compartmentalizing life than Scottie Scheffler.
Is
He
that
is,
right?
oh, what? Where he places golf in his life, it's not the end all be all. Yes, he is a staunch competitor. He is an amazing worker who has phenomenal work ethic. But when he is not working, his wife, his child, his relationship with Christianity, and his family, they are more important than golf. And that's why his dad, Scott Scheffler, is so proud and gets emotional when he talks about his son, Scotty, because he said, I'm not trying to, my goal was not to raise the world's best golfer. My goal was to raise a good human being. And I tell him all the time, Scott, mission accomplished, dude. Like you raised a great, just a great human, a good man. And that's more important to Scotty and Scott than anything else. And that says something about the family that he comes from. But I also think that that ability to compartmentalize golf and life is also what potentially could give him staying power that no one else has had. Because it allows him to be hungry regardless of how rich and somewhat famous that he gets. That's the other. Now the problem with being the way Scotty is anybody running out to be like, yo, Scotty Scheffler come out with a line of shoes? Like, what's he wearing? You know what I mean? He's about as exciting as Jim Harbaugh was on the side. Like, hey, let's go get some Scotty Scheffler khakis. Like, nah, I'm good. The other thing I love about Scotty too, him and Bubba Watson canceled more golf lessons than any two golfers in the history of the world.
Is that right?
Oh, have you seen both of their swings?
Of course.
Bubba wins 2 Masters, and he's like, I don't have a swing coach. I just, I go and I want to hit it around this way, and then I want to hit it around that way, and I don't stand right, and I don't do things conventionally, and yet I hit it and move the ball like no one else. Scotty's feet, like if you showed his swing and took away all the signage of a PGA Tour, and you just put him in shorts and a t-shirt on a driving range, and you showed him hitting a shot, you know how many teaching pros or professional like teachers would laugh at that and be like, that dude's got nope, no chance, no chance. And how dumb they would look now by saying that.
Right. So where do you stand on the whole player of the year debate? Is that hands down Xander for the 2 majors? Or do you like the totality of Scotty's resume this year with the back-to-back Players Championships, the only guy to ever do that, a Masters? He won Mr. Palmer's tournament, Mr. Nicklaus's tournament, and now a gold medal. Who do you think is player of the year?
Xander would have been in contention if he won the gold. If Scotty wouldn't have won the gold and Xander would have finished higher than him at the Olympics, Xander would still have a chance if he won the FedEx Cup. But now it's over. Scotty, no, there's no. Xander can win all 3 of these FedEx Cup playoff events. Scotty Scheffler, simple as that. Like,
that was the exclamation point.
That was it right there. He just mic dropped. But Scotty doesn't even have to play the FedEx Cup if he don't want to. He don't. I don't care if he plays it off. Whatever. He's the player of the year. It's not difficult. I mean, with everything that he's done. And the fact that Xander won 2 majors was phenomenal. But then you wonder, like, what would Scotty have done if he wouldn't have been in jail Friday in Louisville?
Right.
And if he would have had his caddy on the bag on Saturday, which people forget he didn't have. Like, man, he had, number one, he had an adrenaline crash, a horrific adrenaline crash, which is understandable. That's going to happen. And then you compound that with not having the guy that you have given credit justifiably to for changing why and putting you at the top of golf right now. And now you ain't got him there either. Like, okay, that's what would have happened if, like, if it's Scotty, Xander, and Bryson coming down the stretch on Sunday at the PGA. Yeah, I don't know. I think that would have been even more exciting and had even bigger ratings. Yeah, I bet it
Yeah.
would. I bet
Yep.
it would. And so the fact that we'll never know that too, then not to take away from what Xander did, because making that putt on the last hole is the one thing that nobody knew if he was going to be able to do. How many times Xander's going to put himself in contention and then not be able to close? Well, now not only did he close that first one, got another one, which is once you get one at his level, like it's not going to surprise me if Xander wins the FedEx Cup, but it's too late to get Player of the Year.
Michael, looking back, and we've talked a little bit about the Masters here, have you had an opportunity to play Augusta National yet?
I have 2017, the year that Sergio won the Masters. I won the media lottery and got to play Monday after Sergio's win. I got Sevy's locker in the champions locker room as well. Yeah, it was probably the one of the I don't know if it was the greatest, but it was definitely it's on my Mount Rushmore of the greatest days I've ever had in golf and getting to play. I did everything. I mean, from when we played, it literally felt like we had the golf course to ourselves. My caddy would not let me take any pictures and didn't let me keep score. He took pictures. He took all the pictures and like I told him, hey, I snuck a camera in my bag because when my phones were in the car, turned off. I put a camera in my golf. I went to Best Buy, bought a camera, put it in my golf bag, and then was like, hey man, I got a camera. Tell me when I can take some pictures. He was like, nah, you ain't taking pictures. And he probably took, I don't know, 300 pictures that day. 2 pictures he took, I've already told my family when I passed, I want them at my memorial.
Really?
One of them, actually 2 of them, the 2 pictures that I told my family are both on the 13th. First is walking down the fairway. I don't know how he got this picture, but it looks like I'm walking down 13 alone. And then the second one is me getting ready to step in and hit a shot into the green, a wedge into the green. And again, he's got the picture behind me. And I never saw him take one photo. I don't know how he did it. This dude's a wizard. And he took this picture of me stepping in to hit this shot. And again, it looks like it's me and the 13th green. And that's it. With the azaleas in the background and it's one of the most beautiful shots. And you can't see my face on either of them. And that's another thing for me that makes it beautiful because it's me, but I don't have to be, I'm not smiling. It's not my face. It's just me. And I figured that like when I'm gone from this earth, that's the perfect shot of me walking away.
Wow.
Which is, yeah, I mean, it was spiritual. Let me put it this way. When the round was done, there was 2 special things. One, I got to go shopping. People who know me understand I might have a problem, whatever. But in the pro shop, they took all the master stuff out and it was all Augusta National stuff. So I bought Augusta National Golf Club stuff like it was going to be my last time there. Let me say, I went shopping like I'm never going back there. And for good reason, just in case.
Yeah.
So I won't say what I got, but I was able to purchase something that I was not supposed to be allowed to buy.
Oh.
And it's one of my prized possessions that will never see the light of day. It will never see outdoors or outside. It will never see a golf course, ever. And only people that have been to my house, even when they see it, they're like, oh my gosh. And I've only ever seen one outside of the gates of Augusta. So that's how special this thing is that I was able to acquire. It was funny how it happened. They set it out and I was like, I just grabbed it And they were, I don't think we're allowed to sell that to you. And I was like, well, you're going to have to call the cops because I'm going to make a run to the car with it. And he laughed too and was like, just hold on, Mr. Collins, let me make a phone call real quick. And he was like, we're not supposed to, but because we set it out and weren't supposed to set it out, I'm allowed to sell this to you. So,
Wow.
and I was like, don't worry, you won't see it on any social media. It is not ever going to be seen by the public. And he was like, well, okay, good. That makes me feel better about it too. So anyway, but the even more, to let you know how special the day was, when the day was done, I had a 3-hour drive to Reynolds Plantation down in Georgia, like a different part of Georgia. It was like a 3-hour drive because of how the route that I had to take. And I got in the car and I just looked at my cell phones and I looked at the radio. And I didn't turn on the radio and I didn't turn on my phone. And I drove for 3.5 hours in silence because I wanted to hold on to that feeling of what I had just been through as long as I could. And I
No
didn't look at the
doubt.
scorecard or nothing. Like it was again, it allowed me to keep that almost spiritual moment even longer on it. And I think it's one of the reasons why there's a fan part of me that is okay with them never lifting the phone ban on it. I mean, as a journalist and as a employee of media, it makes our jobs extremely difficult not being able to have contact with our bosses back in the media center to say, hey, you need to get over to 15. I know you're on the front 9, but something special is happening over. And not being able to do that is a real pain in the behind. And it makes our job much harder. But the flip side of that is, as a fan of the sport of golf and as a fan of the Masters and Augusta National, I love the feeling that you have when the only way that you get to experience this is with your eyes and ears being up and open. And what I mean by that is, like, you don't have a phone to look down at. You don't have a phone to take pictures or video or any of that stuff. You only get to experience what you're experiencing right then and there. And you must hold on to that moment or recall it later when you're with friends who weren't able to be there and have that moment with you. And those are better stories than when you whip out your phone and go, hey, man, check this out. And then you try to tell the story with it, but they're trying to watch the video and listen at the same time, or see the pictures and listen at the same time. Where, think about how your description of things are so much better when you don't have photo or video to back it up. And that's what Augusta still gives people.
So let's take that idea of feeling, and I want to hit the reverse button and go back to the beginning, because I want to know, what did it feel like for you walking onto the first tee for the first time or only time, putting a peg in the ground and trying to draw the club back at Augusta National?
Surreal. Surreal. When you're walking to that first tee and there's a dude wearing a jumpsuit walking with you, carrying your club, and there are, there was, I don't know, 4 or 5 people like who worked there who wanted to come out and say hello and all of that stuff. Um, you would think, why am I feeling the only other time I felt like nerves like that, butterflies like that. I don't want to say nerves, but like the only time I've ever felt that before is like the first time I went on stage to do stand-up comedy. And then the first time that I played golf in front of a camera, like where it was live on television, where it was like, okay, you got to hit this shot or you're never going to hear the end of it and never be invited to come play golf with anyone, because they're going to see how bad you potentially could be. So walking onto the first tee at Augusta felt like that. It felt like your hands were a little sweaty. You didn't necessarily know where your feet were, and the butterflies that were in your stomach, like almost fight or flight. Like, this is really going to happen? Like, this is really it right there. My father-in-law said he felt that way. His bucket list trip was always, I mean, everyone's bucket list is the Masters, but his bucket list was Pebble Beach. And I took him to Pebble Beach and we played Spanish Bay. Well, first we played Pacific, um, the most magical Muni course in the world. Um, we played Spanish, um, Spyglass, Pebble, and Monterey Dune. But when we stepped on that first tee at Pebble, like, he got real quiet, and he had a tough time hitting golf shots there because for him that was hollow ground. So, or hallowed ground, I should say, not hollow ground. That'd be funny. We fell through the ground on number 2 right into the ocean. It's amazing. It was a big pit, so it was hallowed ground for him, and so. And then if you start playing bad, like that can be a snowball effect real easily. But it was like, listen, we're just enjoying the walk. Like, you're on Pebble and you're swinging a golf club. Like, who cares? Who cares? And it was cool. And talking to the caddy afterwards too. I talked to the caddy afterwards, and the caddy got emotional about that place and the people that he's been able to loop for, like fathers and sons getting play together like that for the first or the last time. And so it was emotional. It was cool. And that's all of those feelings you feel on the first tee at Augusta when you tee it up there and put that peg in the ground. But once you start playing, after about I don't know, after you hit that tee shot and you realize how difficult the second shot's going to be on the first, like, all of that is like, whatever. I need to play. Like, I got to hit this golf shot. And so then you're just playing golf, which is cool. But then every time you hit a shot, you're like, oh, shoot, back in such and such, so-and-so was here and hit. So I know what this shot does. Like, I know the shot that so-and-so hit when they were here in this position. And I know I ain't got that shot on purpose.
Earlier this year, you commented on a Greg Chalmers tweet about the first time he played the Masters. Greg said he caught the first tee shot on the heel. It went down the left side, hit a patron in the head right above the eye, and left a dimple pattern. He punched out from the pine trees, hit another person. A signed glove doesn't seem like that's enough for being a one-person wrecking crew out there. What do you think would have been the appropriate thing for him to do?
I mean, I would probably give him some money to go get a beer, and which would be cheaper than a glove at Augusta. That's the funny thing. Either that or, I mean, I don't know. If you're that nervous first time, maybe go see if you can get a couple gift cards, right? And you pop somebody in the head and you be like, listen, I can either sign a glove for you, give you this $50 gift card in the pro to go into the merchandise tent. Everyone's going to take that $50.
Yep.
And go into the merchandise tent. Everybody. They'll be like, keep your glove, dude. And most of those people be like, the last thing I want is a souvenir to tell people that you clocked me in the eyeball with a Titleist. Like, hey, man, who'd you get that glove from? Yeah, this dude who hit me in the eye. I don't even know who it was. Some left-handed dude walks funny. Like, Australian guy, I think. I don't know. Yeah, but if you were like, hey, man, where'd you get this shirt? Oh, I got this gift card. It was awesome. Follow that guy around for 5 holes, hoping he'd hit me again. I was trying to get more shirts.
Just a couple more before I let you go, Michael. And this show is available in my hometown of Pittsburgh on the Pittsburgh Tribune review site. And a few weeks ago,
You're on the west side, baby. I'm on the east side.
I know.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, a video that Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin did went viral of him addressing some kids at a youth camp, teaching them that it doesn't matter what you're capable of, it's what you're willing to do. And he says he knows a lot of people that are capable, but only a few that are willing. And you reposted that tweet. And I think Tomlin's exactly right.
Oh, it's 100% correct. It's 100% correct. We all know people like that, right? In different fields. It's not just in sports. but in different fields, and sometimes in life. It's like, how many times do we hear people say wasted potential?
Yes.
That's what that is. That's what that means. How many people get frustrated with friends or family members? Like, man, I want the world for you, but you don't want the world for yourself because you're not willing to do what it would take to get that, like the work. And that's frustrating to see. But,
Mhm.
that's only if you're an optimistic or somebody who wants to see good in others and see success in others. I don't want people to have a little bit of success. I want them to have a lot of success, and the
Yep.
only way to do that is for them to do what needs to be done and not hope. And so I love that saying. And I've had conversations with friends of mine who, have have been and are extremely successful. And that's the separation between those who are very successful and those who could have been very successful. And it doesn't always mean the thing that gets twisted about that message is the failure. Like, because there's plenty of times that you can put the work in and give everything you got and it still doesn't work. But that's okay. What that means is that wasn't the thing that you were supposed to have, right? That just means that there is another opportunity coming, and you just have to put the same amount of work into that, and that's hard. It's hard to do, but to think that like this is the one thing, and I'm putting all of my effort into this, and if this doesn't work, I'm out. Nah, that's not life. It ain't like that. That's not how it works. So like you hear a saying like that, and then people will get frustrated. But I did put everything into this, and it didn't work. Okay, so now you quit. What you're saying is you were only willing to put the work in for that one thing, and that's it. You're not putting that work in for anything else.
So let's take that a step further for you and your career, because now you're a fantastic photographer. You've done so many things at a high level.
Thank you.
And now you're a wonderful photographer, like I say, amongst your many other talents. I got to imagine, first of all, you've got some pretty cool prints that you've got framed around the house. What are some of your favorites?
Oh my gosh, man. I don't. That's a great question. If I had to like pick out my couple of favorites that I have taken, I've been so lucky, man. I've been so lucky. Even though, like, I cursed my best friend for sending me down this rabbit hole. But it's also because of him that, like, I've had some opportunities to do things that are just. It's like I tell my kids, what I get to do is not real life, right? Like, I got to shoot Messi's first game in Miami, and that was like, who gets to do that? Are you crazy? Like, I got to shoot the Eagles sideline when they played the Cowboys last year on the Sunday night. That's that's crazy. I got to shoot F1 in Austin the first year it was there. Like, that's not normal. I don't. Who gets to do that? But then there are other times like the Louisville Bats when we were at the PGA Championship. I went early because the Louisville Bats invited me to come take photos in their dugout during the game.
Wow.
So I got shots there. This was the first year that the Augusta Green Jackets, minor league baseball team, like a mile away from Augusta National. This was the first weekend, the weekend that the Augusta women's amateur was played. Augusta Green Jackets had a home series, and I got to go shoot that series. And like during the par three contest, I got to go take photos during the par three contest, during some of the action. It was like so some of this, like, I don't know, man. I got some of the shots I'm most proud of, they're not even for me. So like that par three contest is a perfect example. I got some shots of golf, I would say non mega stars, right? So like everybody's out walking with Rory and like Jordan and like all the most famous people, everybody's out walking. But there are other golfers that are out there with their families that nobody's out there. And I'm saying professional photographers. No photographers are out there with them. So to be able to get some really good candid shots of a dad with his daughter or like the kids doing something funny or like endearing on a green and then being able to send them those photos and surprise them in that way, like, you know how good that makes me feel to
No doubt.
know I was able to give someone a moment that they thought they would, that, or like one of the golfers, I sent a picture. He didn't even know that how it was happening. Like he didn't catch the moment, but I caught it on camera and I gave that player that picture. And like being able to do that for somebody like that, I can't tell you how good that feels. It gives me goosebumps talking about it because it's like, and it's just being in the right place at the right time and like having everything kind of come together in a moment. But then being able to give that to someone that 50 years from now, they're going to show that child is going to show their grandkids. This is when I caddied for your great grandfather at Augusta National. And I did that for them. Just right place, right time. But I was able to give someone a memory that they're going to be able to give when I'm not here anymore. And like, that's what I love about taking some of the pictures that I got to take and get to take. It's those kind of moments. Or like, the Eagles game or something. I got a shot after Devontae Smith scored a touchdown. And I got a shot of him and AJ Brown facing one another and the ball floating between them.
Wow.
Yeah. It's hard to describe the shot, but it was again right place, right time, and it was just holding the shutter down and then going through these pictures going, holy crap, I can't believe I got this shot. And it's a really cool shot that I was just like, oh my gosh, I got something cool. Or I don't consider myself a professional photographer. So when professional photographers pick out shots and tell me that they're good, like that is validation. And it just is a good feeling knowing, okay, so maybe I do have an eye. Maybe I can see some stuff and have learned some things in listening and watching other people and I do love doing it. Like I like that the challenge of can I be in the right place at the right time and can a moment happen? And a lot of times it doesn't. Like I've shot soccer games and I asked the photographers, they would get these shots, guys doing headers, and they would get the shot as the ball is on the player's head. And I would be like, man, okay, how many frames per second are you taking?
Right?
And I would ask them too, like, man, how many pictures a game do you take? And they'd be like, about 4,000. Okay, cool. So at least I know I'm not just crazy taking all these pictures. And then I'll be like, well, hold up. How many of yours are blurry? And they will be like, about 1,500. And okay, you know what? That makes me feel better. Knowing that you're a professional photographer and you're taking 1,500 blurry photos because of how fast soccer moves and you have to anticipate stuff. And so they always say that's the hardest sport to shoot because the way that the movement of the game is, it's hard to track for a photographer. Very hard to track. And so getting good shots in soccer, like that meant a lot to me hearing professional photographers be like, that's a great shot. And I'll be like, all right, this is awesome. Maybe I can go pro at this. And then you're like, how much do you make? That's it? Oh, hell no. Hell, I want to be driving a Beamer. I don't want to be driving no Toyota Tercel.
So when are we going to get to go out on michaelcollins.com and buy some of these great photos? I know the ones that are special to the players, that's a personal thing. But, I'm sure Eagles fans would love to have a shot of the one that you described earlier, the two receivers with the ball in between. And I'm sure fans of the soccer teams that you went out there and shot would love to get, some of the things that you put together. When can we do that?
See, I don't, because for the stuff that I did for the Philadelphia Eagles, my I guess thing with them is I am considered a part-time in-house photographer. So I let them have all the rights to the photos. And because I'm not going to sell them, because that's not, but I let the Eagles, and they posted myself and my best bud, who ironically was a Dallas fan, and they lost. That was awesome. We just do it for the love of photography, not to sell it. Like I'm not trying to make money off them. And so like when I go shoot Eagles stuff, then the Eagles own the photos. They're only for my personal, and I'll put a couple of them up on social media, but I don't want to sell them. If the Eagles want to sell them, even if they wanted, like, I wouldn't take money. I would rather like take that money and donate it to my home Boys and Girls Club in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, or the Boys and Girls Club National Association, um, or another like charity that's close to my heart. And so, yeah, you're never going to see. Number one, there's no such. I don't have a michaelcollins.com. So if I had a website, I would probably do like caddypics.com. I don't know. Like I'd be America's caddy, and then the other would be America's photographer. I don't know. That'd be ridiculous. But yeah, no, I wouldn't sell them. If people wanted a picture, or if someone was like, "Hey man, I'm a big Eagles fan. Would you send me a picture and then I'll print it out?" Yeah, I'll send you a pic. If you like if there's Eagles fans out there that were like, "Hey man, do you have a picture of this player or that thing?" Then yeah, I would give them away.
Well, just for the record and for the back of your mind, I'm a huge Augusta National is my favorite place on the planet. I've been fortunate to be there just about every year since '01.
Wow.
But
you know how many people hate? Hold up. So you've been there since '01. How many gnomes do you have?
I have 0 gnomes. I'm not a gnome guy.
Come on, man.
I've never understood the gnome thing. Like that. What? A gnome?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a gnome guy.
I wasn't until I got my mom one, and then every year it's been a battle to make sure she gets a gnome.
Wow. She must have quite a collection.
But no, it's not crazy. It's not crazy. And I messed up the year of Christmas. I didn't order one online for the Christmas one. And if you want to like have a laugh, go on eBay and look at the price of the Augusta National's Christmas gnome. The year that COVID happened, and they played it in November.
November, right?
Yeah, they played it in November. And College Game Day was there and stuff. And that was during COVID, so there weren't people there. And so yeah, that one I made a mistake because I had the opportunity to go do the online shopping, and I didn't get a Christmas gnome. And I'm still one of the top 3 bogeys of my career life as far as shopping goes. Yeah, that's definitely in top 3. But yeah, and their gnomes are just fun. But now they're so hard to get. And like this past year, the line to get into the shopping, it was just unbearable. It was not worth it. because by the time you got in, if you weren't one of the first 500 people in line, you weren't getting to know them anyway. So it was
Right.
yeah, it was, and that craze I don't understand. And again, I don't. It's like my picture. I'm not buying stuff to sell. If I'm buying stuff, it's because I want to be able to give it to someone to make their day, or it's because I just like it and want it personally. I think it's cool. So
Right. Same.
yeah, seeing people go shopping there is crazy. I saw someone drop
No, you did not.
$50,000, and
Oh
they
my
obviously
God.
have an online store,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's kind of like I don't. That kind of gives me a skeevy feeling, slimy. You know what I
Yeah, I'm
mean?
surprised Augusta National lets that go on. They're so strict about so many things.
But
I
that is like whatever.
Yeah.
They're like, meh. You want one? You want two of every shirt in every size? Like, how? Hold up, man. What you got? 27 kids or something? Shouldn't you have a show on A&E? Like, why are you here?
Yeah, they're
But
so
that's where
strict
they
about
are with
so many things.
that.
I'm
And the funny
surprised they
thing
let
is,
that.
well, and that's the thing that with the gnomes, you're only allowed one gnome.
Oh, is that right? They
That's
do
it.
clamp down on the gnomes?
One gnome. So you can get one large one small one. This year they had a Christmas ornament gnome, and you could get one. That was it. You can get one.
Hmm.
So it's wild, and I'm with you. I don't understand that whole clamp down thing, but you know what? I'm not going to tell them what to do, what they can and can't do.
Right.
Like 1 week a year, just that's fine.
Michael, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy schedule to come back and be a part of the show. And I agree with Michelle Smallman of the Unsportsmanlike Radio Show. If my buddies and I were doing a fantasy draft of people I'd want to play golf with, you'd be my number one pick in the draft. I promise you that.
Oh man, thank you so much for saying that. That means a lot to me. And I sent Michelle a message too to be like, man, I'm glad you feel that way, and just promise me that you're not picking me number one because you think we're gonna win. Because if you're picking me number one, we ain't winning no tournament that we're in, but we're gonna have a good time. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna tell you some stories and stuff and just enjoy the day out there. One thing I'll give another caddy. His name is Tim Moore, a friend of mine who actually, when I first started caddying, he taught me about caddying a long time ago. And one of the things he told me that he told his player, I took to heart, and I have said it not only to professional golfers, but have said it just to people when I'm on the golf course and, people are starting to get frustrated. And this is how I feel about golf. The enjoyment of my day is not determined by the score on the scorecard.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Michael, you have put the fun back in golf. Golf for many decades had become stodgy, but when you
Thanks,
became a
man.
part of the game, the fun started to come back in golf, and I thank you very much for that.
Hey, Chris, I got to give my mom some props here. You know the biggest compliment that I've gotten from my mom when it comes to my broadcast career?
Please.
My mom said to me after I started doing XM radio, which is now Sirius XM, and then became working at ESPN. My mom said to me, when you first started doing commentary in golf, nobody was funny. Nobody was even trying to be funny. And now, because of you, everybody is okay with being funny and laughing. And I'm like, huh,
She's right.
that's kind of cool.
Yes,
And
it is.
so I'm gonna say thank you, but my mom thanks you for saying the nice things that she also kind of recognized, and it means a lot to me to bring joy to a game that I love for people.
Michael, before I let you go, remind everybody how they can stay up to date with you on social media.
Instagram at ESPN Caddie, and Twitter or X at ESPN Caddie as well. And Caddie, it's ESPN CADDIE, all one word. And I have no clue what like my Facebook, how to just type in Michael Collins, ESPN, and it'll pop up. Like you'll see me on that one. But like I don't even know how to do the address. I just post stuff there, and then I usually have to ask for help doing that too. But I try to post a bunch of stuff. Instagram and X are like my main things. So that's where you can see me on social media. And I'm probably going to start a YouTube channel in a little bit, and that'll be America's Caddie on the YouTube channel. So that'll be a fun one with some stuff that potentially is coming up that could be a lot of fun. But that's in the future. Hopefully, we'll be talking again after that comes out. So,
Well, I look forward to that.
me too.
Michael, it's always a huge show to get to spend some time with you, my friend. I can't thank you enough for doing it. All the best to you and your family, and I look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Right back at you, my friend. Thank you, Chris, so much for having me on.
Thank you, Michael. That is the great Michael Collins, folks. And I mean that sincerely. How great is that guy? How important is he in our game? A guy who makes everything that he touches better by his personality and the person that he is. And a multi-talented guy. Again, a guy who started out as a comedian, went in and just made himself into a caddy, and now has taken that to a broadcasting level and a photographer. A guy is just as talented and as incredible a person as you will meet in this life. One of the things that I just love about Mike, and I said it a moment ago and I want to reiterate it, everything he touches is just spectacular. And he makes it better by his mere presence. I can't thank him enough for coming back and being a part of the show. Make sure you're out there following him at ESPN Caddie and America's Caddie. Michael's a wonderful human being. I can't wait to have him back on the show. I hope I get that privilege very, very soon. All right, my friends, it is time for me to put a bow on this very special edition of Next on the Tee. I can't thank Michael Collins enough for being a part of it, and all of you for coming back and taking a listen to the show, pressing the play button, and being the greatest supporters in the history of podcasts. You guys know I appreciate each and every one of you so very much. Until next time, hit 'em straight, my friends.